Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing my Gentlemates Valorant rebuild. This team is pretty interesting, as I think most of the Ascension teams are. It's pretty weird with these teams where like you're really trying to compete this year and keep that Ascension slot, at least making playoffs or whatever, so you can compete in the Ascension tournament to keep it, um, or having to make champs otherwise, which is kind of an insane thing for Gentlemates who are like a solid like eighth, ninth place team in the EMEA last year. So got some work to do here, but should be very interesting to say the least. So if you guys enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. Let me know what you guys think of the roster in the comments below. Also, give me any suggestions on players. I'm not the biggest like EMEA follower. I follow Pacific and America's tier 2 a little bit more. I was actually pretty familiar with Turkey, but other than that, not really within EMEA. So again, just let me know in the comments anybody that you want me to check out that I maybe haven't watched yet, from EMEA or from Pacific or Americas. I don't really have a preference with that. But also go check out my Twitter. You can tweet those same things at me about like specific players you want me to watch. Yeah, just go follow me on there. I'll tweet updates about the series as well as a bunch of stuff about all of Rostermania and that kind of stuff. Uh, Also, go follow my Twitch. Link is in the description. I think I talked about it in the last video, but I'm not going to be doing the stream on October 7th for the like VCT roster lock day or whatever. I can't do it at 9 a.m. when it starts, so whatever. Kind of sucks, but I will be tweeting about it as much as I possibly can. So, again, go check out my Twitter for that, and I'll be streaming a bunch after the series is done. But I think other than that, that's it. All I have to say. So let's get right into the video. All right, now before we can talk about what they're going to do in 2025, we have to talk about what this team did in 2024. So they won EMEA Ascension in kind of a, I'll just say a fluke run. Because that's really what it was. They were like an okay team heading into playoffs. Nobody really expected them to do too much. And then in their last two games, they just decided to go insane. They had Natank go plus 34 in the lower final versus Ascend, and then Logan goes plus 30 in the upper final, or not the upper final, the grand final against Apex. To put it into perspective, they won 3-0 in both the lower and the upper final. They two games, or there was one game in between the lower final and then their upper bracket semifinal, which they also played Ascend and lost 2-0. And then the game before that, they lost 2-0 to Apex. So they kind of just decided that day when they played Ascend to kind of flip a switch, and it worked. And then I think once they got into VCT, they were kind of somewhere in between the team that you saw in the upper and grand finals and the team that you saw all year. I think it was probably closer to the team that you saw all year in 2023 from Gentlemates, but it wasn't like uh, super like insane either. Like they were a solid team. I just don't think they were up to that standard that they set by those two games. Some people thought they were still going to be good just because they won Ascension, and people are way too high on tier 2 teams, in my opinion. But yeah, like I didn't think they'd be good. Some people said that they would. In my comments, they were yelling at me, "How is Gentlemates in the bad tier?" And I'm like, "You didn't watch them." But regardless, just complaining about idiots. At kickoff, they got seventh, ninth, which is basically losing in that weird Group C with three teams in it, where they lost to Vitality twice in a row. Um, I don't think they looked particularly great. They did some weird stuff, which was kind of their thing all year. Then they went 2-3 in stage ones, one with wins over BBL and then Vitality, playing them the third time this year. And then they replaced Logan with Cadavra, which was a move that I was not a huge fan of, specifically dropping Logan. I thought he was pretty good. Cadavra, when he came in, was also very good, though. He played like a mix of Sentinel and Smokes. We'll talk about him a little bit later. And then they went 1-4 in stage two, which I think was a lot to do with the competition they played. Like they lost to Giants they beat Koi, and then they lost to Foot, Heretics, Navi. Getting maps over Heretics and Navi though, which is pretty impressive. So yeah, definitely a weird year and weird expectations heading into the year, but I think overall, I'd say it's a little bit of a disappointment. But our goal for next year's roster in 2025 is to contend in EMEA with, I mean, maybe not a full French roster, but all players from the French leagues and everything like that, and at least make playoffs to try to retain this ascension slot that Gentlemates has. So we will be removing 3 players here. I also updated the slideshow to just have the player's picture, which I think was a little bit better of a move than having the whole like VLR thing and just showing their name twice. But we're going to be removing Whalers, Takas, and Bayaz. I think 3 pretty clear removals here for this team. And we'll start with talking about Whalers, who I think overall was like fine last year at best. Some people might say that he should stay here. Um, but I think overall, like the whole sample size on him playing smokes just was not good. Like, it's just scrolling through these games, wasn't great at kickoff. I think like he had some nice games in there on specifically when he would play the Sentinel. I think was his best stuff. Um, I just, I'm not a huge fan. Like he never, I don't think he went. When did he go positive for the first time against Vitality? Yeah, against Vitality in week 4, where he barely did. But I'm not a big stats guy, but it's just kind of looking at it like this. Like he had some absolute stinkers in there. So I think you just want a player that's a little bit more consistently at least solid than a player that will have some okay games and then sometimes some abhorrently bad games. So yeah, I think a lot of that is to do with the fact that he's not a super mechanically gifted player in terms of just like shooting. I mean, everything like that, like the aim, just shooting, whatever do you want to say, movement? I don't know, whatever you would say, like have the attributes as for mechanics. But and then I also did kind of add in here, he isn't very good on smokes, and I think with Cadavra in the team here, I think he would be playing quite a bit of it. So yeah, that's not ideal. I mean, it'd be like 50-50. I think I'd still, the plan is still to split Cadaver between Smokes and Sentinel because he has been very good on that, both in tier 2 and in tier 1. Now onto Takas, who I don't think needs much explanation. I mean, I think a lot of people were really hard on him last year. I thought he had some potential, like heading into the year after what he showed in tier 2, or specifically what he showed in Ascension. Um, but I think a lot of that was kind of a bit of a form run from him and stuff like that. And he just ended up being towards the bottom statistically in both stage 1 and stage 2, which I don't lean a lot into stats, but like as a duelist player, that's bad. Like really, really bad. So he ended up getting removed from the team in real life as well. And I think that's the right decision for Gentlemates. So kind of unfortunate. A player that I did like, but I just don't think there's much there anymore. And then last up here, we have Bayaz, who I think had some nice games for like his shooting and individual play kind of stuff. But overall, I just don't think this team looked particularly cohesive. There were times where they just looked completely lost and no, like, didn't look like they had a plan for the whole round, which, yeah, you could say that sometimes comes down to the players. But I think overall, you have to kind of say, is the IGL really giving us like what we need? And I really don't think Bayaz was doing that. So that's not ideal. Um, and yeah, I think that'll get him replaced here. I think he's replaced in real life as well. I'm pretty sure. Let me look. Doesn't say he's inactive. I swear I saw something saying that he was. Oh no, that was Pora. I get them those two confused because they have the all lowercase names with one A uppercase. That's what was confusing. But yeah, still, I think he should go in real life as well. Just not good enough, I don't think, in terms of the calling aspect, and I think you need somebody better for that, and then get the firepower better around the IGL. So now onto what we need. You need a flex like slash flash initiator. You need a recon initiator, smokes, senti, one or the other, or both like both in one player, and then you also need an IGL. So for flex players, I really didn't find anybody I loved other than Ampy, so I think you guys can guess who I'm going to pick up. For initiators, again, there's no good initiator players in terms of the French league from what I looked at, so not ideal. Maybe there's somebody that is French in a different league that somebody can point me in the direction of. Maybe that could be somebody on this list, but all the initiators are IGLs, so we're going to be picking up an IGL initiator player. One of Robbie BK, Foxy GG, or Unfake. And then for controllers, you have Magic, Akuma, and Mike. All three really nice players there. And yeah. So yeah, we'll start with Ambi. Massive surprise from the last segment, but I just think this guy can play so many different agents. He plays, I'm pretty sure, every initiator. Let me double check that. Ambi. Yeah, he plays Sova, Breach, KO, Sky, Gecko. Am I missing somebody? Fade. Okay, he doesn't play Fade. I'll give you that. But he can also play the Deadlock. He's also played a little bit of Cypher here and there, a little bit of Brim. But overall, I think just gives you a good amount of flexibility in this role. Could probably play some Viper with the way he plays. I believe he can play that. And I just think like his main thing, other than being decently mechanically gifted, is really good at like using on the fly utility and like helping his team like take space during a retake or take space during a post plant or something like that. I think he's really good at that specifically. So yeah, and I think that's super valuable, especially in the meta that we're in right now. I think getting him on more flash initiator stuff will really be good. Also, apparently, I'm just looking at this now. He's a 1.36 rating when he plays Reyna and 1.24 when he plays Chamber, which is kind of crazy. So maybe you try to get him on one of those roles. I don't know. But yeah, he's very, very good. Then you have Robbie BK, who I believe is signed to this team in real life. I also have to double check that. I have my own spreadsheet that I just put rumors that I see on Twitter in. I mean, not rumors, but reports that I see on Twitter. And yeah, okay, it was to Gentlemates. They signed him in real life. I think he's by far the best French IGL, or at least like, maybe not French IGL, I guess, but like IGL in the French VCL, I think. And I think he adds more firepower than you would expect for an IGL. I don't think he is quite what Bayaz is, but he's like around that, which I think is a decently solid player. And yeah, I think he's really good. That's, all I really have to say about him. Then we have Magic, who was probably my favorite player in all of French VCL. He can play smokes when Kadavra plays Sentinel, like the Cypher and stuff that he plays. And then he can also play Sentinel when Kadavra is playing smokes. So that's a really good swap. Like I believe he played like Omen. He played, sorry, guy, right? Yeah, he played Killjoy and he played Brimstone for Job Life, which I didn't realize he was on this team. Huh. I didn't even realize. Was I wanted Job Life to lose specifically so I could get Robbie BK in this team, but I didn't realize that I forgot that Magic was on this team as well. So, that works for me. So, yeah, just a very, very good player, good lurker, good side anchor, everything like that. Just really what you look for in terms of a smokes player, and he's French, perfect for this org. So, our final roster will be Natank on Duelist, which I think might be a little weird, but I think he can learn it. He's a super mechanically gifted player, in my opinion. He's played a lot of Rays. I think he's played some Neon. Oh no, he played one game of Neon. Not played very well. You want him to learn the Jet. You want him to learn the Rays. I think this would be a good team to get maybe a 16, 17-year-old player in to potentially replace Natank mid-season. I think that would be a good idea for this team. Then Ambi, who we talked about, Robbie BK, who we talked about, Magic, who we talked about, and then Kadavra, who I didn't know much about coming or when he was signed to Gentlemates, and I wasn't huge on the signing just because they dropped Logan. I would have preferred they dropped Whalers, and I think that would have been a better play for them. But his Omen's really good. I think his Cypher's pretty solid as well. Um, he was pretty much their best statistical player in almost every game once he joined the team, which is kind of crazy. Dude, in this final game versus Navi, he went plus 20 playing Omen on Sunset and Ascent, which, I mean, is insane. I mean, it's not even the map specifically, but like the agent. Oh, and he played it on Split too, playing it in like a weird like Yoru race comp kind of thing. So yeah, he's very good. I really believe in him. He was also like by far the best statistical player in terms of Split 2 during France or yeah, in France. Like a 1.30 rating, 237 ACS, 1.46 KD, 87% cast, 4 0.41 assists per round, which is like tied for like, I don't know, fifth or something. I don't fucking know. I'm not doing the math there. Yeah, just a very, 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 very good player, and I think they'd be a mistake to not build around him going into 2025. So with that, that'll be our roster. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll see you guys for the next video, which will be. Let me look at my calendar. Not my calendar. I'll just look at my spreadsheet, I guess, because that's quicker. It'll be Giants for our last EMEA rebuild video. Then we'll go through all the teams in a separate video. Then we'll be on to Pacific, which I do still need to do a little bit more scouting for. Like I need to find. I just need to find one player for global. That's it. Every other team is done. So, and a player for secret as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that if you're interested in Pacific. If you're interested in what I did in all of EMEA, you can go check out my other videos as well as my next two, wrapping up this EMEA series. If you're interested in Americas, I already did all those teams. I did individual videos on Loud, NRG, Cloud9, and MIBR, and then a recap video where I went through all of the other teams not named there. So if you guys are interested in that, go check those out. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed the series, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.